Welcome to the Fulfilment Recipe. Each session is split into two halves, an audio file which explains the theory and the underpinning knowledge behind the practices which you will find on video file in section 2. Good luck. The Fulfilment Recipe with Emma Newham. Session 5. Forgiveness and letting go. This is one of my favourite quotes on forgiveness from Mahatma Gandhi. It goes like this: "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong." Because we don't want to take things personally and become a victim. Don't sweat the small stuff. Step back, see the bigger picture, let things go. And of course, forgiveness is one of our most important life lessons, and it will come to all of us at some point. And it contributes to the healing of the planet, because it's impossible to create a peaceful world if it's populated with angry people. But many individuals struggle with the concept of forgiveness because they perceive it as difficult. However, the point is to consistently try to make the effort and open up the capacity to forgive through compassion for our own fellow human beings. If we can forgive, it brings us a deep sense of inner peace. And we get to experience true freedom, which is essentially freedom from our own mind in a single act of forgiveness. You might recall, if you've read the Bible, not that I have, but I remember certain things from school. And I remember this, Jesus says, love your enemies. Because the inability to forgive them means that they'll continue to haunt you and you'll never be free of them or the pain that they persist in causing you. Because too many of us carry grudges for too long, and we might feel self-righteous because of what another person did to us. Whilst we might get to be right, that doesn't mean we get to be happy. You know, if we could only see what this is doing to us and bring a little bit of human kindness to the situation. The ability to forgive saves the expense of hatred. It's too big a cost. Because being unwilling to forgive is a terrible thing that we do to ourselves, and it is a choice. And this experience attaches its energy to us, and you will remain stuck. It's a bit like taking a measure of daily poison. That internal bitterness circulates and accumulates around your system, sabotaging your peace of mind and your well-being. I like to think of this analogy. You know those funny mirrors that you get in a fairground that make you taller or shorter or wider or thinner? They kind of warp your perception of reality. And if you view the world in this way, the actions of daily life are misrepresented, misinterpreted, and you begin to view the world through your tarnished consciousness, like wearing dark glasses. But what we have to realise ultimately is that life is all about lessons. Nobody learns lessons when we're having a good time. We have to go through some dark periods, and it's how you react to those dark periods. Are you going to fall prey to it and become a victim? Or are you going to learn to see the same situation from a different viewpoint? Because there are various ways of looking at the same situation, glass half full, glass half empty. But let me tell you, the person that you find hardest to forgive, usually the people that are close to you, they are the ones that can teach you the greatest lessons about yourself. And by learning to love yourself enough, you rise above the drama of the situation. And that paves the way for clarity and understanding. And then forgiveness becomes easier. My belief is, most people are well-meaning. And so I always think, well, most people are doing the best that they can at any given moment, given the knowledge, the resources, the awareness and the understanding they have at that time. You know, they might do it differently in years to come, but they might be a different person in years to come. And if they're doing the best they can, or, you know, the near as best you can't really ask any more than that. Before we deep dive into what forgiveness means or doesn't mean, I want to share with you two more quotes, both from the same man, Viktor Emil Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor and an Austrian psychiatrist. He founded a school of thought called logotherapy, which is basically a psychotherapy describing that man's main motivational force was to find the meaning of life. Both quotes are to do with our reaction to a particular set of circumstances that we may find ourselves in. This is the first one. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Now that quote is understandable from a man that was maybe saw quite a number of atrocities being a prisoner of war, when you have no control over your situation. And so therefore you have to learn to live with it and accept it and change your perspective or your attitude, which is what he's referring to. The other quote is like this. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So, when we are challenged and emotions are high, we tend to react from habit, from the subconscious patterns. If we can create a space or a gap to breathe, in that space we can think and make a considered response from the conscious mind, not from the habit mind. And if we can pause and control what we're about to do or say, and be in control of our actions and our emotions, we overcome that loop of habitual reactions. And therein lies our growth. And we become free of the subconscious patterns that pretty much control us on a daily basis. So let's come back now to what forgiveness means. Well, I would say forgiveness means the ability and also the willingness to forget. Because choosing to remember past events spoils the present moment. It makes us miserable. We need to forget because the past has gone and it no longer is worth thinking about. Negative thoughts weaken us. Toxic worry drains us. So we have to learn to understand that those deep hurts will never recover until we let go. So it's choosing to unburden the baggage that you've carried around and release yourself from those past experiences. I often liken it to weights. Think of emotions, maybe an emotion of hate, 30 kilograms, resentment, 40 kilograms, bitterness, 50 kilograms, anger, 65 kilograms. They're all metaphors, but you get the picture of the burden of toxic and negative emotions pulling you down, making you feel heavy. Hence the word baggage. You know, it's really weighing you down. We need to learn to take ownership for our own life choices and experience, because blaming other people for the situation that you're in means that you hold them responsible. And when you hold someone else accountable for your situation, you're essentially giving away your power. It means you're powerless to change your own situation if you're holding others responsible. Because now you're waiting for them to do something to make it okay for you. So learn to recognize the stupidity of judgment and accusation because it interferes with your own personal growth process. If we can just see beyond the character flaws of our own fellow humans to the goodness of the heart that hopefully will develop in time in everybody. The majority of people are well-meaning, no doubt, no matter how damaged they appear to be on the surface. Deep desires for goodness exist in everyone's character. We all crave the same things. We all want to be loved. We all want to be safe. Learning to release negative thought patterns and judgments and see the ego at play in your unkind thoughts. See that critical voice exactly for what it is. Catch yourself during these mind dramas. Change the record to a positive one, positive grooves only. Recognize that you're only hurting yourself because you're remaining stuck in a negative mindset, and that keeps us trapped. That other person might be blissfully unaware that you are silently seething with anger behind the scenes. Your negative emotions are not affecting their daily life. And really, would you want them to know how awful you feel inside? It's like saying that they've won or somehow they've got some control over you. And every grudge you carry is like a snake bite. That venom is circulating in your system. And it destroys your health and well-being. It's too high a cost to pay. Forgiveness is like medicine. It's an antidote to heal the pain and bring peace. Otherwise, unforgiveness unchecked becomes like a cancer in our soul. And as we know, cancer spreads. It affects our behavior, mood, attitude. It eats your energy, creativity, spirit. And actually, it takes more strength to forgive than it is to be vengeful. And yes, you might find it difficult at first, but is it any easier to sit with that anger, that bitterness, and that toxicity? We need to let go so we can breathe and become healthy and whole again and liberate ourselves from those shackles of resentment. We need to let go so that the past doesn't hold us prisoner any longer. Forgiveness doesn't exonerate the perpetrator. It doesn't justify their behaviour. The universe is already on it. Karma will come their way. So we need to learn to accept what has happened. Now, accepting that these events has happened to you. Not accepting that it was okay for it to happen, but nevertheless accepting that it has happened. And what can I do about it? How can I move forward from here? You may be familiar with the author Louise Hay. In her book, You Can Heal Your Life, she cites a number of ailments and health conditions that are linked to particular emotions. And the one that is linked to cancer is resentment. And that's interesting because if you think of the heart chakra when it's in balance, you get all the good qualities of the heart: joy, peace, love, compassion, kindness, grace, forgiveness is one of them. When the heart is out of balance, you get the shadow qualities, which is kind of the opposite. And those qualities include grief, sadness, bitterness, resentment, funnily enough, as well as unforgiveness. They're both, resentment and forgiveness are both shadow qualities of the heart when it's out of balance. And to bring ourselves back into balance, we got to let go of some of those negative emotions we've stored within. So what does forgiveness not mean then? Well, assuming a superior position, which people often do, and release any wrongdoings that we believe to be real. We're not saying that another person's behaviour is acceptable. We're just saying it has happened, not that it's okay. It wasn't cool, it wasn't good. But often there's a perception, we might feel that if we forgive others, then what we're saying was that what they did to us was okay. We're not saying that. We're doing it for us, so that we can move on and become unstuck. It's not a question of morality here. You hear people say that they forgive but they don't forget. Well, that's not true forgiveness, because there are strings attached. And perhaps they don't want those that they forgive to forget that they forgave them. And they might attempt to call in favours later. And again, that's not real forgiveness. It's just a way of gaining influence over another person, which is another form of manipulation. So why then do we cling on to our baggage and carry those past hurts around with us when the events that caused them are over and time has passed? Remember that cost-benefit ratio analysis. The cost of carrying your past around is 100%. It's too heavy. The benefit is a big fat zero. It's of no consequence to you right here at this moment unfolding, whether your partner left you 10 years ago. It has served no purpose other than to spoil the present moment. But there must be something that people get out of it, because you wouldn't ordinarily choose to be a victim. It's not an attractive quality. Yet people still do this. They still play the victim. So something is happening internally. They're getting something from it. Well, of course, victims get attention, don't they, from others. People feel sorry for you. They give you sympathy. And some people like to have something to complain about and acquire allies to support their story. But again, these are all forms of manipulation. The problem is we identify with the story that we create in our own mind, where we are the main character in that story, and it has us as the lead role of victim. But stories can be magnified, and we tend to make mountains out of molehills. And if you combine that with a whole load of assumptions about the situation, because we can never really know what another person is thinking, then we are now centre stage in the drama of our own lives. We often like to play the video of that drama in our own mind, repeating our version of events, rearranging them into a better drama, regurgitating past hurts, only serves to keep them fresh in our memory, and everyone knows a prodded wound never heals. If you persist in holding on to the things that you despise, then of course you're choosing to live a life with hate. And it is a choice. We must recognise that it is a choice. We have free will. Someone I know, unfortunately, grew up in an abusive household, where there was mental, physical and emotional abuse. And as a result, had quite a horrific childhood. And when she was in her early 20s, she actually made a conscious choice to let go of her old self and her past, and to close that chapter so that it didn't spoil her future. And it was almost an overnight decision to start afresh so the past wouldn't spoil the rest of her days. And so she let go and has had a much lighter life as a result. But not everybody is fortunate enough to see it that way or have that attitude. It takes a conscious being and a lot of work to rise above that situation and to find a way forward. So I want you to visualize a movie. Let's say movie 1. You see yourself living with previous baggage, and the weight of it fills you with resentment and bitterness. And you're unlikely to see a happy movie. A very unhappy picture begins to unfold, in fact. And contrast that with movie 2. See yourself living the same life events, but this time you choose not to play the victim. You accept that you've come to this earth to learn certain lessons and that you might make mistakes in the process. But you see with clarity everything that comes your way, you have created. It's a bit like the law of attraction. Maybe you've had some karma to pay, lessons to learn. But you have the ability to look to yourself first and not to blame others. You seek the truth within. You find common ground and a solution and a resolution. And really that's the path of love and peace. And now you're likely to witness a much lighter movie. But if only we could step outside of ourselves to know this truth instead of enduring that internal torture every day. Get out of the prison of your own mind, because we can't experience true freedom unless we release the past. Maybe other people didn't behave well, but the incident is over. It's pointless trying to punish others or control them by our reactions. Getting even never works. The law of karma will always come back to us. So release the judgments. Learn to live in the now so you can move on. Get rid of those old wounds. And actually, as you stop delving into the past, which is a habit, you will understand that you'll not actually have to forgive and forget, because that habit will subside and it will vanish in time. So remember, challenging situations are sent to try us. Those dark periods of trauma, hurt and pain. The people we find demanding are our greatest teachers. Thank them for the opportunity for your own growth and transformation. Think of it as a gift. We can't see that when we're in our small, narrow-minded victim mentality. But if we can step outside and see things from a different perspective, we can think of these people as helping us along our way, our journey to evolvement. I'll share with you the bus stop conversation now. It's from a book called The Energy Codes by Dr. Sue Morter. And it goes something like this. There's a queue of souls at a cosmic bus stop, waiting to take their journey to planet Earth. And as they get to chatting with one another, one of the souls says, what are you going down to Earth to learn? Well, I think I'm going to learn about courage. What are you going to learn? Well, I've been waiting a long time. In fact, I can't wait to get in. I want to have this huge experience of forgiveness. Not just a level 3 or 4 experience. I'm really going for it this time. I'm choosing a level 10. And of course, the conversation rolls round. Well, how are you going to have this big experience of forgiveness? Well, someone's going to have to do something that's pretty much unforgivable. One of the other souls says, what would that take? Well, perhaps somebody might drink too much at happy hour, get behind the wheel of their car, crashes into my car, has an impact on me, maybe injuring me and my family. Perhaps I lose some family members over this. It's really unforgivable. And eventually, after too long of suffering for not having forgiven them, for holding the grudge and living in the pain, I'm going to eventually recognize after all those years of anger that I'm going to have to go ahead and release this. And in order to do so, because it was so massive, I'm going to have to dig deep within and find some aspect of myself that I didn't know I had, and no other set of circumstances could have possibly called me to do that other than the ones that I'm going to have to orchestrate. So when I get tired of holding the grudge and living in that pain, I'm going to have to find an aspect of my personal power that I never knew I had in order to wake myself up and move forward and let go. Then you realize that the bus stop gives you the opportunity to enlist other souls to help you achieve this mission of awakening yourself up. So you say, who's going to help me? Nobody answers. Come on, I need somebody to be the driver. Nobody raises an eyebrow. Come on, I've been waiting so long for this opportunity to evolve myself. Please, please help me. One of the other souls pipes up. Okay, I'll help you. And it will also help me with my own lessons in self-forgiveness. Okay, great. And then you all board the bus bound for planet Earth. The bus stop conversation is, of course, a metaphor, but it highlights how we can look at certain events in our life from a different viewpoint. We can look at it from the point that we caused this, we agreed to this. Because you could have some pre-designed life events where forgiveness and those lessons that you asked for are perfectly orchestrated. And then all of those other souls at the bus stop who've chosen a similar life theme of forgiveness will sign up with you for that particular experience. And this is what we often refer to as a soul contract. And we have contracts with souls that usually we are very close to, so very close friends, people in our family who are there to help us evolve and help us in our life journey. Although, of course, it may not seem like that at the time, but it's a different way of looking at the situation. If we can understand that we've actually chosen these friendly souls to assist us to fulfill our mission on earth so that we can learn the lessons that we've agreed to undertake in this lifetime, then perhaps we begin to see the gift in the situation and learn to bless rather than blame the other party. In the yogic tradition, and also many other belief systems, we have the concept of reincarnation. Yogis believe that we've had many lifetimes, evolving from one to the next, according to the lessons we've learned or not learned. We build up karmic debt and karmic credits also, and hopefully, as we learn our lessons, we burn that karma. They call it the cycle of samsara, also known as the cycle of suffering, birth, life, death, rebirth. We come around again because we have karmic ties, maybe unresolved issues with other souls, and we get the chance to learn our lessons or maybe do things differently this time around. So soul contracts are the agreements made at a soul level prior to your incarnation in this lifetime, and they're part of the divine plan for your incarnation into human form. These contracts are basically the key lessons and experiences that you're going to have, and also the key relationships that you'll encounter in this lifetime. So part of the forgiveness work is to acknowledge the pain, acknowledge the hurt that you might have felt, and then have the ability to say, I forgive you, I release you, I let you go. Because forgiving someone fast tracks your own personal growth process. So with that in mind, now let's come to how to forgive. If you really want to forgive, you only need to make the decision to forgive. If it's your belief that forgiveness is a struggle, that it's difficult to achieve, requiring a great deal of effort, then really it's time to change your beliefs. Because I suggest the opposite is true. Forgiveness relieves the shackles that are weighing us down. Trying to forgive, that's not true forgiveness. You'll only suppress your emotions. When you become conscious of the mind games that go on within you, you'll witness the stupidity of it all. So a conscious decision to let go of everything 100% without any conditions or strings attached, it has to be made. There's a tendency to look at the past, often with rose-tinted spectacles. We picture memories that we like to think of. When we tend to disregard those that don't make us feel good. Well, similarly, in the same way, if we choose to ignore and forget the hurtful memories, and choose to remember only the loving thoughts and experiences instead, that's almost like forgiveness, because you're choosing to think about the positives, to remember the positives, and to disregard the negative experiences that don't make you feel good. So if we learn to press the pause button when an experience of a negative memory or thought comes into view, and then look at the contents of your mind objectively. Any thought you try to avoid will only persist in haunting you and seemingly develop some power over you. So learn to think in a particular way that serves you. Also learn to calm your emotions. Breathe. Soften inside. Stepping away from the drama that's going on in your head. Then you can see how unkind and how unforgiving the mind can be. Listen quietly to the arguments you're creating and how ridiculous it all is. You are creating the problem by your perception of the situation and your reactive behaviour towards it. See how ridiculous you're being, and laugh at the foolishness of your irrational attitude. Reaching for the truth behind the ego facade so that we can see beyond the illusion. Look to yourself first. Take responsibility and don't apportion blame to other people. You can't change another person. You can't control how they think and how they act. Therefore, you must look inwards to find what you can change about yourself or the situation. And when you change or you do something different, the other person will have to change as a result. They can't not. So approaching the situation with love, because forgiveness melts bitterness, and to offer forgiveness is the only way for us to have it. Famous author Marianne Williamson has commented that when we're stuck in life, it's often because there's a little bit more forgiveness work to be done. I like her analogy about being stuck. And she says that all the gifts in the universe are already out there. It's already programmed. The nice car, the job, the partner, whatever it is you want, that you wish and desire, it's already out there in the ether for us. But we don't get to download those goodies straight away. It's held in trust, she says. It's held in trust until we do a little bit of work on ourselves, and then we get the goodies. I suppose it's a bit like, if you have a child and they're waiting to finish their dinner, but they don't want to eat their vegetables and they want to go straight onto the dessert. But you say, well, you can't have the dessert unless you've eaten the vegetables. So eat those first, then you get the goodies, So sometimes we've got to do a little bit of work before we deserve what the things that we desire. Once you've made the decision to forgive and let go, what kind of action can you then take? Well, you could actually make a physical apology, whether it's to that other individual in person, right in front of them, having a conversation, or whether you sit in a chair and visualize that person in front of you. That person may be still here today, or they may have passed, in which case you can create a scenario where you're talking to their soul. But whatever the conversation is, I want you to kind of really think about how you're going to word this conversation. Let me give you an example of what I mean. How does this apology sound to you? Hey, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to hurt you. Can we call it a day? Can we get past this? How come that didn't feel right? It didn't quite clean up the mess. What do you mean you never meant to hurt me? It doesn't sound particularly deep, meaningful, or sincere. So how about something like this? Hey, I need to tell you, I did know what I was doing. I was conscious of it. I did wrong by you. I heard my consciousness tell me not to do this. I didn't listen, and it didn't matter to me either. And I knew that my actions weren't cool. It was wrong. And I was conscious of how much it hurt you, and that didn't stop me. I'm sorry. I'm confessing my soul to you, and I'm asking for your forgiveness. Now, something like that is a bit more authentic, honest, real. The depth touches your soul more. So, trying not to make judgments, which is difficult for humans. Have no expectations. Another thing that's very difficult for humans. Give up the need to understand why things happen. If we take that bus stop conversation, and look to the gift and know that, again, the law of attraction, everything in our life we've attracted, we've signed up for, we take ownership for, we take responsibility for, even though we might not be able to understand it. Maybe we've been a saint in this lifetime, but we're carrying the karma from past lives into this life, paying off that debt. We don't need to create more karma and more drama. Think of the spiritual laws, and in particular, the law of attachment. In Diana Cooper's book, The Spiritual Laws, she describes the universe as having lots of different energies, like attracts like, some energies repel. But some people are drawn together over lifetimes, one lifetime to another, by energetic cords. And they're often unaware of this pushing and pulling between them. But these energetic cords are formed between people who have unresolved issues between them. And think of it like a little silver thread starting off. And when there's any drama or thoughts of anger or actions of jealousy or any negativity, whether that be in thought, word or action format, that tiny thread then becomes a thick rope and attaches that other person to you. And whilst occasional thoughts here and there will dissolve in time, consistent negative messages really strengthen that cord till it becomes a really strong rope. And this happens because it gives our souls a chance to do things differently and therefore to grow spiritually. These cords can be dissolved by forgiving someone, by sending love to them. In fact, Marianne Williamson tells you to pray for someone who's harmed you. Pray for them for 40 days because the energy and the interaction between you changes. So give up the need to understand why things happen. Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different. It's accepting the past for what it was, not spending time and energy saying, I wish this, if only that. Let go of the past you thought you wanted. Again, let me reiterate, giving up the hope that the past could be any different or any other way than exactly what it was. If you find it difficult to forgive, then perhaps it might be easier to start by praying for those that you can't yet forgive. Maybe you've had some kind of betrayal in a relationship and that you're not quite neutral. Maybe when you see that person or hear that person's name, it's still causing a reaction, an emotion inside of you. You're not yet neutral. So in that case, if you find it difficult to forgive because it's still raw and maybe just a little new, then pray for that other person. Pray that they get help or learn their lessons or become better in some way. Pray for them. That's better than sending out hate and strengthening those cords of attachment. I mean, the real solution is to ask for forgiveness for yourself, humbly and sincerely when it's difficult for you to forgive. You know, ask for forgiveness for yourself for being unforgiving. I often tell people to write a forgiveness letter, and you don't have to post it. It's really just an exercise for yourself in getting those emotions and those feelings and those memories out of your body onto paper. It's almost like an exorcism in a way. It just makes you feel better to say, hey, you know, these are the hurts that I've experienced. But ultimately, it's taught me a lot about myself, including it's brought me this lesson of forgiveness. So I thank you for that. I didn't see it as a gift originally, but now I do. I realise that I asked for this lesson and that you actually helped me to fulfill that. And I thank you for this chance to evolve myself. You can actually send it. You can have a conversation around it. But it's not necessary. The whole point is to get those negative emotions out of the body. In many traditions, particularly the shamanic tradition, we would do a ceremony, a letting go ceremony. And these are usually done at the time of the full moon. A full moon, which obviously occurs once a month, is an energetic time of letting go. It's a time of endings, really, as opposed to the new moon, which is a time of new beginnings, of newness. That's a time to do your manifestations, inviting new things into your life. But a letting go ceremony is great to do at the full moon. And it involves writing a letter or putting down on paper, almost the opposite of a wish list, really. It's a list of what you want to let go of, and that could be letting go of a person, a situation. It could be letting go of negative qualities, anger, jealousy, that kind of thing. Anything you want out of your life that no longer serves you. And you can write all of that down. You might even put photos or symbols of the situation or the person, and you might make a little bundle, almost like an effigy, that you read out loud, walk around the fire, set yourself a little fire pit, and then burn it. And that's a kind of a symbol of letting go. It's an energetic way of letting go. Sometimes people break a twig or a stick that is symbolic of cord cutting between yourself and another person. That's also quite a powerful thing, because these days we tend to just have ceremonies in the West that celebrate the usual things like births, deaths and marriages. We don't tend to celebrate, transitions in life, letting go, anything like that. You might like to do a specific forgiveness and letting go meditation, a guided meditation to release you from the past. Ho'oponopono is a traditional Hawaiian practice. You could call it a meditation or a mantra even. It's a practice of reconciliation and primarily forgiveness. This word translates into English simply as correction. But this mantra, when it's said, helps you reflect upon yourself, and it incorporates compassion, appreciation, redemption, and repentance in the phrases, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you. I've included a guided meditation at the end of this session to help you release yourself from specific people so that it helps you cut those cords of attachment I was referring to earlier and allow you to move on. Now, I'm going to share with you an example of a lady, let's call her Sally, that was in my meditation class for around about a year. And the first time we did the forgiveness meditation, that's included in this session, Sally didn't really have much of a reaction, and it was quite early on, maybe within the first couple of months. And I thought, she's probably maybe switched on, not one to hold a grudge kind of thing. I didn't think much more of it. And then later on, it must have been about 6 months down the line, and people were coming into the class and going. There was a mixed bag of people, as there usually is. And I thought, okay, maybe it's time to do the forgiveness session again. And Sally was also still in the class. And at the end, I always ask for feedback for those that want to share their experience. And when it got to Sally, she kind of shrugged her shoulders and said, yeah, I'm good, I'm fine. And, that was that. And it wasn't a particular surprise to me. And then it was probably just over a year. And Sally was still in class. And again, I brought out the forgiveness meditation. And when it got to feedback this time, I came around to Sally and I said, something along the lines of, Sally, yeah, we're all good. Yeah, no problem. And she kind of looked at me and her face crumpled. And she started to tear up. And I was like, I was really shocked, taken aback. I was fully expecting the usual reaction. And she said, Emma, you've broken me at last. And in that moment, I was just silent and I just waited for her to speak. And she said, something I thought I dealt with just arose during that meditation and came up to clear. Because, of course, when we first start meditation, we can be fooled into thinking, we've let go of that stuff and we've dealt with that stuff. But we've probably dealt with it on a very superficial layer because that's all we can handle, perhaps, at that time. But the roots grow deep. And therein lies the problem. The roots are deep, stuff within the subconscious mind. It's below consciousness. We're not aware. And Sally was probably a very different person 12 months prior when she first came to do this meditation. But healing occurs like the layers of the onion. As I've mentioned before, we kind of take off the first layer, the layer of armor, then another layer. And as we progress and we grow and we evolve and learn and understand, we start to shed, a bit like a serpent or a snake sheds its skin. We renew ourselves. She's no longer the same person now, 12 months down the line, that she was then, because she's done some work on herself. So she's able to go a little deeper this time. She's coming to the very same meditation from a very different perspective. So now she's already shed some layers, and this same meditation can penetrate deeper. And this time she's got a very different reaction because she's now coming to the roots. And so she's had a reaction. And, she taught me in that moment a lot, that you can do a meditation and have a very superficial reaction. But when you start to dig deep, then and do some work, then you get a very different reaction. And I go back to what one of my teachers said to me: if it's comfortable, it's not meditation, meaning there's no work occurred. You know when it doesn't feel good that it's poked something inside of you, it's dragged something up from the subconscious to be cleared and let go of. And that's, of course, exactly what we want. I'd like to share this poem for you by an 85-year-old woman called Nadine Stair. It's entitled, If I Had to Live My Life Over. If I had to live my life over, I'd dare to make more mistakes next time. I'd relax. I would limber up. I would be sillier than I have been on this trip. I would take fewer things seriously. I would take more chances. I would climb more mountains and swim more rivers. I would eat more ice cream and less beans. I would perhaps have more actual troubles, but I'd have fewer imaginary ones. You see, I'm one of those people who has lived sensibly and sanely, hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had to do it over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I'd try to have nothing else. Just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. I've been one of those people who never goes anywhere without a thermometer, a hot water bottle, a raincoat, and a parachute. If I had to do it again, I would travel lighter than I have. If I had my life to live over, I would start barefoot earlier in the spring and stay that way later in the fall. I would go to more dances. I would ride more merry-go-rounds. I would pick more daisies. I just like the light-heartedness of that. It makes me think of the movie analogy. Just letting go, have fewer imaginary problems. Stop living life in your head. Be more carefree. Kick up your heels. Enjoy life. Don't be burdened down with the heaviness of emotions and past hurts that you don't need to carry. Let go of it all. Travel lighter this time. So don't delay. Make the decision today, a conscious choice to 100% let go of the past so that you can move forward with the next chapter of your life. Now it's time for the practical element to begin. So what you've got in your envelope, because we're going to do a forgiveness meditation today, and letting go. So I want you to have a look in your envelope and just pull out, you've got a little few cards there. So the first one should say guilt. And I've estimated that at 30 kilograms. Okay, so these are a representation, obviously it's not, you know, it's a representation of how much weight when we hold negative emotions in the body. So that's the first one. Second one, bitterness, 35 kilograms. Then we've got resentment, 40 kilograms. Anger, 50 kilograms. Shame, 30 kilograms. Hatred, 45 kilograms. Disgust, 20 kilograms. Sadness, 30 kilograms. Contempt, 20 kilograms. Jealousy, 25 kilograms. Regret, 25 kilograms. Fear, 40 kilograms. Obviously that list is not exhaustive. But out of those, okay, which ones do you want to put in the envelope to release? Which ones are you holding? Ella, what I want you to do is just select. I mean, you could put them all in. If you wanted to.
Maybe a few that don't.
That don't. So leave out any that don't resonate. And the ones that you think, yeah, that's a bit of me at the moment, put them in the envelope. Okay? And then we'll do the forgiveness meditation, because we want to release any negative emotions that we're holding in the body, because it sabotages your health and your well-being and your peace of mind. So you just put in what you want to release. Lovely. And then you're just going to make yourself comfortable. And we're going to start that meditation. Okay. So just start with the eyes closed. Begin by shutting out the external world. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. And then just really sigh as you exhale all the cares and worries of the day out of your mind. Deep breath in again, inhale. And then exhale, just let go of stress, tension and pressure. Inhale, life-giving oxygen, expanding the body, filling your body with air. And then exhale, just let go. A sense of heaviness all around. Logging off from your day. Just taking this time for you. Coming back to yourself. And I just want you to begin. Let's focus on the breath. The rise and fall of your chest and abdomen with each and every breath. Breath will bring you into the now. Remember that in-breath is an inspiring, energizing, uplifting breath. And your out-breath is a calming, cooling, relaxing breath. Try to breathe out almost a little bit longer than you breathe in, to calm the nervous system, de-stress, release tension and anxiety through the breath. Mental chatter starts to subside. And you connect with a deeper layer, a deeper aspect of self via the breath. The breath is your vehicle to take that journey within. So I just want you to begin just to ponder on the meaning of the word forgiveness. What might that mean to invite forgiveness into your life? To let go of the burden of heavy emotions that we carry around. So this process is not about blaming others. And blaming others during this meditation will only serve to prolong your own healing. So think how it might feel to lighten your load, to release any negative emotions and to let go. We'll start by having a look at the people in our life, just generally, nearest and dearest, and then we'll go to a specific person with whom you might hold a grudge. So first of all, just in general, think of your parents. We want to forgive them for anything that you might have ever blamed them for. And understand that they too are different now. So allow a sense of forgiveness to begin to open, to surround them. And just in general, think of your nearest and dearest people. Forgive them for anything that you think they've done wrong or are doing wrong at this time. And forgive them with your heart. Let them feel that you accept them. Let that forgiveness fill them. Realizing that this is your expression of love. And think of your friends, again just in general. Forgive them for anything you've disliked about them. Let your forgiveness reach out to them so that they can be filled with it, embraced by it. And again, just consider in general all the people that you know, whoever they might be, and forgive them all for whatever it is that you've blamed them for, that you've judged them for, that you've disliked. Let your forgiveness fill their hearts, surround them, envelop them, and be your expression of love for them. Just really getting a sense of allowing that forgiveness into your life. One of the higher virtues. Now I want you to begin to focus a little bit more deeply now. And think of any one person whom you want to let go of, cut off, or simply just forgive. Someone who's hurt you. Someone for whom you still have some resentment, anger, rejection, or dislike towards. It might be someone who you're connected to presently, or someone who you rarely see. It could be within your vicinity or far away from you. It might be someone from your past. Just allow a picture, an image of them to form in your mind. And get a sense of their presence at this moment. Hear their voice. imagine your heart opening and gently invite this image of them to gather there, inside your heart. Become aware of any resistance that might emerge to restrict their entrance. Just notice this and gently relax and allow this opposition to melt and ease away without too much effort. Think of your reasons for letting this person or issue to leave your life. It could be because you feel negative emotions when you think of this person, or because they may harm your well-being. It may be just that the timing is now right to let go of the situation once and for all. Allow yourself to feel the emotions attached to this person and the situation. Focus on the area above your navel. And I'd like you to visualize a fine silver energetic cord that reaches from your solar plexus to their solar plexus. This energetic cord represents your attachment to each other. Every time you have a negative thought or emotion towards this person, this energetic cord connection strengthens, gets bigger as the negative energy feeds it. Visualize that cord between the two of you. And now imagine that you're holding a large pair of golden scissors in your hands. And visualize yourself cutting this energetic cord. If it doesn't cut completely the first time, do it again with more emotional strength behind it. You're detaching yourself from this person and dissolving the connection. In your mind and heart, silently say to this person, I forgive you. If there's any resistance to these words, say, I choose to forgive you. You're doing it for you, to release yourself, to liberate yourself. So that you don't remain stuck any longer. So that you can move forward. Soften your body and mind and say, I forgive you for any intentional or unintentional pain you may have caused me, either through your actions, words, or thoughts. Whatever you did, or did not do, say or did not say, I now forgive you. Notice any feelings of expansion inside of your body as you allow yourself to soften towards this person with the possibility of forgiveness. Release the contractions caused by negative emotions. In order for your heart to heal and experience true freedom, you'll need to break the chains of resentment, the shackles of bitterness, and release old grudges. When you choose to let go of hatred, guilt, fury, or any negative emotion towards another, you'll start to feel lighter, and the healing process begins. It's time now to release that pain and choose another way, the path of forgiveness. So say once again, I forgive you. I truly forgive you with my very being, my mind, my heart, and my soul. Now allow this person to be present in your heart, in the silence and stillness of this moment. Let them bathe in the warmth and humility. Visualize all barriers between you disintegrating in grace and compassion. Allow forgiveness to take place. So be it. Surround this person with healing green light. Wish them well. Bless them with love and forgiveness for their journey. Thank them for the lessons they have brought to you, including this lesson of forgiveness. These gifts are precious jewels contributing to your own evolvement. Now bid them farewell, releasing them gently to be on their way, touched by your blessing of forgiveness. Now it's time to visualize the image of someone who holds resentment towards you. A person who denies your entrance into their heart. Pay attention to any thoughts, feelings, or sensations that refuses their entrance into your own heart. Breathe deeply, relax, and lighten towards this person, and soften your hard edges towards them. With grace and mercy, invite them into your heart and say, I ask for your forgiveness. With compassion, please allow me back into your heart. I ask that you forgive me for whatever I may have done previously to cause you any mental, emotional, or physical pain, whether intentionally or unintentionally, through my words, my thoughts, or my actions. However I may have hurt you, directly or indirectly, I now ask for your forgiveness. Grant yourself that same forgiveness you gave to another. Feel their forgiveness and allow yourself back into their heart, back into their forgiveness. Feel it touch you and receive it with grace. Allow yourself to be forgiven. The ego might attempt to resist forgiveness taking place with negative self-talk, judgments, and allegations, but just step back and observe the nature of the often cruel mind. Witness how harsh we can be with ourselves. Soften and allow your being, your mind, your soul, your inner child to be nourished by the warmth and grace of their forgiveness. Let both hearts feel this connection in this moment of compassion as forgiveness takes place. So be it. Now bid this person farewell, releasing them gently to be on their way, touched by your blessing of forgiveness. And finally, turn to yourself. Recognize the goodness in you, the effort you're making, and feel the warmth and ease that comes from forgiveness. Find forgiveness in your heart for anything you think you've done wrong. Forgive yourself for all the past omissions and commissions. They are long gone. Understand that you were a different person then. This person who you are now is forgiving, more forgiving than the one that you were. Feel that forgiveness filling you and enveloping you with a sense of warmth and ease. Open your own heart and invite yourself in and say, I forgive you, to you. Repeat again, I forgive you. Now use your own name and say with conviction again, I forgive you. You might feel a resistance creep in. It's just another word for the ego. It might bring up thoughts such as, this is silly, or I don't really deserve forgiveness, or this is too self-indulgent, but just ignore the unkind inner voice. Observe the nature of the ego without being drawn in, and soften the hard edges to allow yourself to be touched by your own forgiveness. Draw yourself back into your own heart and invite yourself in with open arms, no judgment. Release any unkind thoughts. Absolve blame and condemnation and allow yourself to be forgiven by you. Let these feelings of forgiveness permeate your body, your mind, your soul. Allow your inner child to be loved. Embrace the feelings of warmth, love, and forgiveness for yourself. Recognize the goodness in you. It's in your power to allow it in. Relax, surrender, and feel love. You are wholly and totally forgiven. So be it. Now let's do a final check. Is there any one person or any situation or any group of people whom you're condemning, blaming, disliking? If so, forgive them completely. And let your forgiveness be your expression of unconditional love. They may not do the right things. Human beings have dukkha. It's a Buddhist term meaning suffering. And your heart needs the forgiveness in order to have purity of love. So take a look again and see whether anyone or anything anywhere in the world towards whom you have blame or condemnation. And again, forgive the people or the person so that there's no separation in your heart. Focus again on your solar plexus area. If anyone is still pulling your energy away from you, or if you're left with any feelings of heaviness, visualize a yellow light covering your solar plexus and tell yourself, I reclaim all of my energy back to me. Don't waste your energy worrying, fearing, or doubting. Don't waste your energy in anger, resentment, and bitterness towards others. Bring your energy back to you. You are safe and protected. Now imagine you're taking a shower of silver light, or you could be standing under a golden waterfall. Allow the light to cleanse your body, mind and spirit, washing away any negativity and clearing your energy field. And now focus on your heart chakra by visualizing an emerald green light in the center of your chest. Breathe into this heart space. Allow it to soften with each breath. And imagine this green light expanding and brightening as you release any residual tension in your heart with each exhalation. Release any negative emotions from the heart that have been wearing you down. And allow yourself to feel these negative emotions as they leave your body. Feel the pain and let it go with each exhalation. Release anger, unforgiveness, grief, loss, regret, any and all pain. It's natural to feel these emotions, and it's healthy to feel them and acknowledge them deeply. But then we need to release them and let go. Allow it all to leave the heart space so that you can make space for love and compassion and gratitude. As you let go of the past, you realize that there are no mistakes, only lessons and growth as you move forward. Continuous cycles of mistakes, learning, and then growing. Situations and people entering your life and leaving again when the purpose is served. Everyone we meet is for a reason, a blessing or a lesson. Everything is happening in the right way at the right time. And just as the body needs time to heal from an illness, the heart and soul also need time to heal from hurt, pain, anger. A gradual process of growing and healing and letting go. So release any hurt in your heart, to make room to invite in another little bit of peace and healing, new and beautiful people and situations. Visualize that gently swirling, nourishing, beautiful green light, the colour of spring, bathing your heart center in that colour, the colour of renewal and healing. Allow your heart to take what it needs and say, I easily forgive myself and others. I lovingly forgive myself. They are free. I am free. All is well in my heart now. I allow myself to give and receive love freely. Allow that green glowing light to bring you deep love, compassion and balance. Let it fill your whole chest area. You are loved. You are free. Let it radiate through your body, filling every little space, healing every cell with green light until it's overflowing, until you have more than you need, until you can spread your light and love back out into the world. Drawing it back into your heart, letting it back out again in a beautiful cycle. Just spend a few moments allowing yourself to breathe in this healing light, dissolving any and all negative feelings and emotions. Now visualize your heart center closing down a little into the size of a tiny fairy light, back to normal function. And then come back to the breath. Notice the natural rise and fall of your abdomen as you breathe. Again of your full body as it rests on the floor. Give your toes a little wiggle, your fingers a little wiggle. Become aware of the room and the sounds around you. Coming back to the present moment.
This meditation is a 4-step guide to letting go of the past. We're constantly struggling with the past in so many ways. Mistakes we've made that we regret or that make us feel bad about ourselves. Anger about something someone did to us. Frustration about how things have progressed up until now. A wish that things turned out differently. Stories about what happened that makes us sad, depressed, angry, or hurt. An argument that we had even just a minute ago that keeps spinning around in our heads. Something someone just did that we're still stuck on. But what if we could just let go of the things that have happened and be present with the unfolding moment instead? What if we could let the past remain in the past and unburden ourselves? What if we could see that our holding on to the past is actually hurting us right now, in the present, and look at letting go as a loving act of not hurting ourselves anymore? It can be done, though it isn't always easy. But here's the practice I recommend in 4 steps. Step 1. See the story that's hurting you. So in this present moment, notice that you've got some kind of pain or difficulty, anger, frustration, disappointment, regret, sadness, hurt. Notice this difficulty and see that it's all caused by whatever story you have in your head about what happened, whether that happened recently or in the more distant past. You might insist that the difficulty or pain is caused by what actually happened and not by the story in your head. But what happened isn't happening right now. It's gone. The pain is still happening right now, and it's caused by whatever story you have about the situation. Note that story doesn't mean false story. It also doesn't mean true story. The word story in this context doesn't imply good or bad, false or true, or any other kind of judgment. It's simply a process that's happening inside your mind. You're remembering what happened. You have a perspective about what happened, a judgment, a way of seeing it that has you as the injured party. This causes an emotion inside of you. So just notice what story you have without judgment of the story or of yourself. It's natural to have a story, but just see that it is there and that it's causing you difficulty, frustration, or pain. Step 2. Stay with the physical feeling. Next, you want to turn away from the story in your head to the feeling in your body. This is the physical feeling. It could be tightness in your chest, a hollowness, a shooting pain, an energy that radiates in all directions from your solar plexus, an ache in your heart, or many more variations. The practice is to turn and face this physical feeling, dropping your attention out of the story in your head and into your body. Stay and face this feeling with courage, because we usually try to avoid the feeling, particularly if it's painful. Stay and explore it with curiosity. What does it feel like? Where is it located? Does it change? If this becomes unbearable, do it in small doses, in a way that feels manageable for you. It can get intense if the feelings have been intense. But for most feelings, we say that it's not the end of the world, that we can bear it. In fact, it's just a bit of unpleasantness, not all-consuming or anything to panic about. Stay with it. Recognize it. Investigate it. Get curious about the feeling, but be gentle, friendly, welcoming. Embrace the feeling like you would a good friend. You're becoming comfortable with discomfort in the process. And that's the path of bravery. Step 3. Breathe out, letting go. Breathe in your difficulty and pain, and breathe out compassion. It's a Tibetan Buddhist practice called Tonglen. Breathe in whatever difficult feeling you're feeling, and then breathe out the feeling of relief from that very difficulty. You breathe in not only your own pain, but the pain of others. For example, if you're feeling frustration, breathe in all the frustration of the world, and then breathe out peace. If you're feeling sadness, breathe in all the sadness of the world, then breathe out happiness. If you're feeling regret, breathe in all the regret from all around the world, and then breathe out joy and gratitude. Do this for a minute or two, imagining all the frustration of those around you coming in with each breath, and then a feeling of peace radiating out to all of those who are frustrated as you breathe out. You can practice this every day, and it is amazing. Instead of running from your difficult feeling, you're beginning to embrace it, letting yourself absorb it, and you're doing it for others as well, which gets us out of that self-centered mode and into an other-focused mode. As you do this, you're starting to let go of your pain or difficulty. And finally, step 4. Turn with gratitude towards the present. As you feel that you've let go, instead of getting caught up in your story again, turn and see what's right here, right now. What do you see? Can you appreciate all or some of it? Can you be grateful for something in front of you right now in your life? Why is this step so important? Because when we're stuck on something that's happened in the past, we're not paying attention to the here and now. We can't appreciate the moment in front of us. It's impossible because our minds are filled up with the past. when we start to let go of the past, we've emptied our cups and allowed them to be filled up with the present. So we should then turn to the present and find gratitude for what's here instead of worrying about what isn't. And as you do that, you transform your struggle into a moment of joy. So whenever in the future you're feeling stuck, can't move forward, there's usually a little bit of forgiveness work to be done. So remember the 4-step process. When you recognize you're holding on, not letting go, remaining stuck, remember this process. See the story that's in your mind. Notice that it causes an emotion inside of you when you think of that story, but the story is no longer happening. It's been and gone. The pain is still there because you're still thinking about it. Notice the physical feeling and where it's located. Then practice the Buddhist Tonglen, breathing in the difficult feeling and breathing out the feeling of relief, and do it for others. And finally, turn with gratitude towards the present moment. Empty your cup of any negativity so it can be filled with positivity, gratitude and compassion. Come into the sunshine of the present moment so that you can move forward, liberating yourself in the process. Now take a very deep breath in through the nose and breathe in peace, joy, love, harmony and balance. And then push out any negativity, stress, tension, pain. Inhale a deep sense of gratitude for being here on this earth right now. And exhale any sorrow or difficulty. Breathing in life-giving oxygen to your body, energizing all of your cells, and release any pressure. And then allow your breath to return to normal, a natural rhythm, knowing that healing has taken place. Visualize your body lying on the floor in this room. Visualize the room itself. Take your mind out externally, noticing the sounds around you. Wiggling your fingers and toes. Back into your body, back into the room, back into your day. Knowing that forgiveness and healing has taken place. And say the words to yourself, my gratitude and blessings, so be it. And gently open your eyes.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. For further information, resources, or to make a donation, visit www.emmanewhamfitness.com. Thanks.